Hey guys, quick video this weekend to get ready for the upcoming week. I'm going to encourage everyone. I've been getting a lot of emails and a lot of messages privately saying, what is this going to do? What is that product going to do? What should I do in here? Guys, you got to do homework in this industry. If you're not doing your homework and you're relying on somebody else to do your homework, I will promise you, even if it's me and my team, which we're good at, if you're relying on us to do your homework, for one, I will promise you, you most likely will lose all your money. Not because we're not good at what we do, because we are very good at what we do, but more importantly, you're just taking blind advice and not really looking at it to see if it fits into your trading mechanism, or more importantly, your trading plan. And if you don't have a trading plan, I will ask you to stop trading this minute and get a trading plan and understand it. Before we get into charts, let me sort of, I guess, get on my lecture podium here. Trading is not that difficult. What makes it difficult is your ears. If you don't have a way of doing something on a regular basis, then you are asking for trouble long term. What I mean by that is if you look at any athlete in the world, and I take athletics because I played athletics at a higher level, and most athletes have routines they get into, whether it's golf or whether it's baseball or basketball. There's a routine before they get up the bat, before they make it, before they hit a putt, before they hit a free throw or anything else like that. It's a solid routine. The reason they get in that routine is so they can make it natural to themselves. So where they take their mind out of the game, and make no doubt about it. Trading is a mind game. It's a mastery over yourself and your emotions, knowing what your weaknesses are, and also knowing and understanding how you will respond in certain situations, and if you will respond favorably or not, and then most importantly, how you correct those. So when you watch videos or see charts and stuff like that, that's fine, because most of us learn like that, and we all have learned like that. We have to learn somehow. But at the same time, you have to have a plan and a system and continually do it over and over and over and over and over again. We've been doing this for well over 15 years, and we trade the same thing, the same methodologies, the same setups. They're boring, boring, boring. I promise you, they will put you to sleep, but we wait for them, and they are consistent, and they make us money, and that's what this is all about. So when you're asking and sending messages out of, gee, what do I do with this chart? Will this one go up another 100 points or something like that? For one, nobody has a crystal ball. Nobody. It's a flat out guess to see how far something will go. However, we know where we can get a trigger and where we can get in with a defined risk, and then we have targets we hope that they hit, and if everything works out well, they will, and a lot of times they do. However, once in the trade, we're going to manage that trade so that trade doesn't turn from a winner to a loser, and then we let our emotions get involved on that. So, guys, listen, and gals, because there's some great ladies who I've heard from that are very, very smart. Listen, do yourself a favor, get yourself a trading plan. You can watch all the videos, and we hope you learn something from these. We've tried to make these to where you can watch the charts. We'll set these charts up before we get into trades. You're going to have to make your own decisions on how to get in these trades. We use a trigger to get in this stuff, and then you're going to see how we manage this stuff. Hopefully you will learn from that. Hopefully you will take that and incorporate it into your own trading plan, and hopefully you'll see how we do our analysis on there. Adopt it, not adopt it, that's up to you, of course. However, the one thing is for sure, get a trading plan, understand what you're trading and why you're trading it. So with that, let's get going here. Let's take a look at the gold. Obviously gold, 1272 was a major level there, and that level took everybody out of the trade. And of course, it came down and found support in and around this 1251 area where they started buying it back up again. Yeah, you could have stepped in there. However, you'd want to see a trigger, and of course, that trigger would have given you plenty of opportunity to the upside. Right now, I think the path of least resistance is to the upside. If it breaks a small trend line, we'll look for 1272 to find support to take out the highs and continue up. We still like the 320 area to the upside. If you remember, this is a weekly signal, so this weekly signal should continue to go on. This is bullish. We like it. The Like I said, we said the 1320 area was a good area, but right now the final target would be a 1340, which would coincide with some highs up here, and of course a 200-day moving average on that. Let's take a look at crude. Crude had a big move on Friday. I read where a lot of people all of a sudden were long crude on Friday. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, there was a signal on Thursday. There was a signal, long signal. But again, when you get long signals in a market that's absolutely falling out of bed, that's catching knives. Even though that's one of our signals, we passed on it. Now you could have taken there is a signal which we don't play very. As a matter of fact, I can't say we've played it in a long time, but it's the break of the high of the low candle, and that's a pretty common, especially on higher time frames, a pretty common trade setup. We're not in that. This obviously moved pretty well. Now you can see this blue trend line here. If you remember, if you haven't watched our past videos here, this is just a monthly trend line here that goes way back to 1999 where it started, and then of course in 2001 it tested it, and then of course in 2009 and in 2015. So that's the trend line. We're back inside that trend line. We would look for that to hold. That is a valid trade setup for us, is a break on volume, which there was decent volume in this, and then a return back to that trend line to hold, then look for a trigger, and then to take out the most recent highs and maybe even the lower high that happened up here. All right, so let's go look at one market that there was a trade that we didn't really get to. We missed it, unfortunately, which is the soybean market. And all the grains have been breaking down lately, but soybean was a good trade. Had a nice pattern. Again, has a nice sideways pattern. It broke out. It's interesting. These are sort of weird candles in here. Typically, I would expect, especially on the downside, a lot more bigger candles with closing at its lows. But you can see here, there was some buyers that came in at the bottom of these candles, which is a little interesting. If you look at it on a weekly chart, you'll see that there was a nice break, a pullback, and then the weekly is a little bit more cleaner. So which tells me that there could be some more downside here. We are not in this trade at this moment, and if you were, you'd want to see this 994 hold, to make this still valid to the downside. If it were to sneak back into this range, it would be, if you're short, you want to get out of the trade by then, or far before then, especially if it would be a loss at this point in time. Wheat is the same thing. We don't trade wheat, but wheat has been in a great downtrend for a while, and if you're able to catch any of this, congratulations. That's a nice trade. Corn is a little goofy right now. Corn is gapping up and then rolling over and doing all kinds of crazy things. We saw a pattern here in corn, which we do trade. We thought it would play out. We looked for a trigger, never got a trigger, and ended up going way to the other way. And that's a sort of a lesson in itself, why we look for triggers. Because if you were just blindly taking it short in here, you would have gotten whacked pretty good. And if you didn't have stops, you would have probably lost your account. So obviously there was some nice little patterns here. We haven't been looking at corn. Again, we missed the soybeans, so no big deal. There's a lot of other trades out there, and there will be more that will set up, especially with planting season, coming up. What is this? This is the beginning of February, so coming up in a few months. So we'll be seeing that going into ground. All right, let's go look at the euro. Yeah, nothing. We don't see anything real exciting here. There was a trade down here which we passed again because this was falling out of bed, and then now we have this little wedge up here, bull flag, I guess if you want to call it. Above that, we would wait, and we will definitely wait for this to break before we want to get long. We don't want to be messing with this right in here, especially with this pattern of falling straight out of bed. Again, bottoming patterns don't happen. Don't go down, make a bottom, and then just stop. It's usually a process. Okay, this is a weekly candle here, so we had 1 week up. Well, if you notice, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight weeks down. This isn't going to just turn and go straight up. All right, it takes some time. It can probably go sideways for a while, then pop up, then come down, test again, then go up. There's all kinds of different things that can happen. So are there some short trades in here? Yeah, there's some opportunity to get some small trades in and around this area, but for now it would be very careful to the long side. The path of least resistance still is to the downside. I think that's where the easy money is made until we see some more big volume coming in here. So all right, NASDAQ real quick. This is where I usually get all my questions on the NASDAQ. Nothing is happening right now. We have no interest in this in the middle. Nice little trend. If you look at it, it's more like a flag, if you will, or a wide channel. You can see here we had this nice move up, small little candles, a lot of program buying in here all the way up, moving it up. Then we have these wide candles swinging in here, which usually indicates that we're looking at possibly some topping action. But now that we look at it even more, we think that they're just distributing this stuff, and then if they do break it down, it will be pretty violent. If not, then we could move back up above that 42.74. But in the middle here, we're not interested in playing. We will be patient and wait for a much better setup. Now, while we wait for that setup, we will take a look at, and let me just say this, we trade the Russell too. The Russell's in the middle as well. The only thing not in the middle is the ES, and we don't do much ES trading. I know everybody loves the ES, and we cut our teeth in the ES when we started this business. But the ES is no interest to us as well right now. Not ever, but right now. We will be watching the yen. The yen is in a very tight pattern right now. And again, in one of our last videos, we identified this 86 level here. If we break up above that 86 level, equities they're going to have some serious pressure put on them. We have if you look at here, we have a low, we have a higher low. If I can get my thing to work. Higher low, and of course now higher lows here. But now you could say, man, we're starting to wedge in here. We're starting to form sort of a triangle, if you will. Either way you look at it, I think there's some big things coming down the line for the yen. And of course, then if that's in the yen, then what happens is the equities will be affected by that. So, keep an eye on that. However, there's no trades in the middle here. So anyway, guys, that's all we have right now coming up. I hope everybody has a great week trading. Oh, real quick, I don't know. Just keep an eye on the news that's coming out. We use, of course, we use the NASDAQ news form here. I know there's a lot of great news forums that says what the economic news is, especially around the world. We do take a look at the world news every other day to see if there's what big events coming up, see if the ECB has any announcements coming up. Is Mario Draghi speaking? Is anything happening out of Asia, et cetera, et cetera? But for the most part, we'll look at what's happening in the U.S. The big thing this week is the employment situation on Friday morning. We'll keep an eye on that. Other than that, we do have ISM non-manufacturing, petroleum status, and then everyone else. We have a lot of little ones that happen on a weekly or every once a month situation we'll keep an eye on as well. So other than that, hope you guys have a great trading week. And then what we'll do is we'll make another update next week, and then good luck, and hope everybody has a good one. Take care.